They tell you that people form an impression of you 8 feet away, 8 words come out of your mouth, and in 8 seconds. I've had people form impressions of me miles away. I don't like when I don't get the benefit of the doubt. While I have your attention,
Take one, soft sticks.
my real name is Elliotte, but people call me Elliotte. I'm Elliotte Dunlap. I currently live in the Colony Frisco area and work for Microsoft Corporation. All my life I've code switched. One of my mentors, she says, hey, when you are without your badge, you are E. Outside these doors, you're E. But inside these doors, you're Elliotte. This is me. This is my code switch situation. When I go into boardrooms, this is what I see in those boardrooms. So therefore, I have to understand what those underlining rules are, and I have to play by those rules to succeed. I don't think code switching will keep you safe. I think code switching will get you in the door to make change. One thing that I teach my mentees is I believe in getting in the game. I believe in sometimes you're gonna strike out, sometimes you're gonna get singles, you're gonna hit doubles, you're gonna hit triples, you're gonna hit home runs, but you got to stay in the game. You cannot change the rules outside of the building. You have to change the rules from inside. I remember giving a presentation one time, a guy raised his hand and said, "How does it feel to be black?" And the room just kind of got quiet. And I said, "It feels awesome," and kept going. But they would do those little measures to make sure that you weren't just memorizing your data, but you actually was a subject matter expert, or you actually was bringing value. When you look at it, we all have had some sort of discrimination. And I really think the root of it is giving somebody the benefit of the doubt. And especially when you have the power of leverage, right? When that person that has the power to do that does not do that. My mother, rest in peace, she taught me that situational awareness, and that's what's kept me alive. I tell you, I very seldom walk in boardrooms where people look like me. I very seldom do deals where people look like me. The technology world, as you know, is not the most diverse. I will say that my company, Microsoft, is doing everything. My CEO, mentors at the organization, they're all leaning in. But I recognize, you think about this stutter step, and you think about post-traumatic syndrome. You think stress syndrome. You think about the PTSD is really what you suppress. I wasn't like this. I've been polished through the years. I've had good people polish me through the years so that I can be non-threatening, so that I can get in those rooms, right? When they hear the story, you're absolutely right. People say, well, Elliotte, but I tell them, hey, my mother was on crack cocaine. I grew up in a blood neighborhood. The cops would pick us up, take us to the Crip neighborhood, watch us get our ass whooped, put us back in the car, take us back to the blood neighborhood. And they would bet on how many bumps or bruises we would have as kids. This is 13, and this is what happened, right? These are the things that I experienced. I know what it's like to get your ass whooped by a cop and then get laughed at and then drop back home, and you can't say nothing, right? Because that same cop patrols your neighborhood and will harass you every day, right? So these things happen. It's like, now I've polished, and like I said, I had to look in the mirror because I suppressed so much, because you're right, I overcompensate for non-threatening. But the problem that I have to check myself on is how much of this do I suppress? And I think suppression is big, especially for those people that have kind of broke through the plastic and have entered the corporate world. Sometimes we forget, it just becomes common nature. I've looked in the mirror and said, what have I become, and have I suppressed so much that I've become out of touch? I was jogging in my neighborhood and I saw 2 young white girls walking down the street, and I crossed over the street. So sometimes I perceive myself and I have to watch out for myself. I think that things like that, when you're non-threatening, they hit you. I'm not your biggest and baddest, but I recognize that I still am a black male. What George Floyd has done is his passing, compiled with the riots and the protests. You cannot be walking around and not know what is going on and why. And the awareness, going back to that lesson that my mother taught me with situational awareness, you are aware whether you want to or not. I think progress starts with the question, and it starts with a conversation. And the people being asked the question, we have to have the energy to be able to give the answer. We can't expect people to ask us questions in a safe place and not provide the answer, or get annoyed when we get those questions, because vulnerability is big. And that's the key to, I think, all of this. This is our moment. And what I mean by our moment, this is America's moment. Now is your time to speak up. We owe it to each other. Yes, you're tired. You know, sometimes you are the only friend that that person has that is on the other side. Or sometimes you are that non-threatening person that they can go to. Let's own it. This is our time. So while I got your attention, let's keep our eye focused on the end goal. It's gonna take people like you and like me to have these type of conversations to decrease the gray area to the point where we have moved close enough to either hug or shake hands. You can take action. And now you know.